Many of you have followed the story of Amy Jakobsen and her son Tyler. Unfortunately, there is no good news in this sad case. I'm here together with Björn Korf from the initiative Step Up for Children's Rights, and we want to find out the current news about this situation from Norway. For this report, we also welcome the viewers from the Family Channel in Norway and the international audience listening to us via Citizen Go. Björn, thank you very much for taking time. Give us a little update. Who is Amy Jakobsen?
Well, Amy is an American citizen who lives in Norway, and her son Tyler was taken by the Norwegian Child Protection Service Barnevernet in July 2013. It was all over a nursing issue. They were accusing her that she would still breastfeed Tyler and that his weight was 9.6 kilos instead of 10 kilos.
How old was he then?
He was 19 months at that time. And if you look at growth charts, that's still okay for a boy at Tyler's age.
You say Tyler was taken by the Child Protection Service. The Child Protection is meant to protect children. Wasn't he protected?
Well, he grew up in a safe home, I would say. But then Amy was concerned about his growth curve, that he wouldn't grow as she was thinking he should. So she went to see her local doctor. And the local doctor said, well, come in once a month and then we'll monitor his growth. But she was so concerned, she said, no, I'm going to come in 3 times a month. And so both she and the Norwegian father, they went 3 times to see a month to see their local doctor to have a checkup on the boy. And this local doctor, he said Tyler is okay. And then Amy went to America in July, I think it was, to see her relatives and family for about 2 weeks or so, and early July, then she came back. And then right after that, all of a sudden, the police stands at her door with Barnevernet, the Norwegian Child Protection Services. Apparently, they had received a phone call from somebody who actually wanted to maliciously hurt Amy. So it was not really about the well-being of the child. It was actually about somebody who didn't like Amy, who wanted to hurt her. And so this person made a phone call, and so just out of the blue, they stood in front of her house and they said, well, you have to give us your child, or you come with us to the hospital for an examination, or you give us the child right away. So, I mean, what are you supposed to do in a situation like this? You think your child is okay because your doctor told you the child is okay. And so they went to with them to the hospital. Well, that was not at their local town where they're living, so that was further away in Kristiansand, into a hospital. And so a doctor who had never seen Tyler before examined the boy, and he found out that he has a vitamin B12 deficiency, and he has 9.6 kilos instead of 10 kilos.
This doesn't sound very alarming, does it?
Well, a vitamin B12 deficiency is can be alarming because it's needed for children. However, you know, what you do in a normal situation like that is you give an advice on how to improve the nursing, and that's it. And also, the other doctor whom they have seen on the regular basis, they told them that the boy is okay. So in that situation there, they were at the hospital for about an hour or 2 or so. And then the Barnevernet says, based on that diagnosis, we're going to take the child immediately. And that's it. There is this video clip on YouTube where the father of the child starts to argue, and he also has filmed this with his smartphone, so there's video footage. And then eventually the argument got louder, and so they expelled him out of the room, so he had to leave. End of story, the child was taken, and without further research, they have not really offered any kind of help. They have not really looked into the family's situation, if they are capable parents or not, which I believe there are. They just took the child, and that was it. And then they were allowed to see their child like once a week in a police station.
To me, this sounds that Barnevernet, the Child Protection Service, really preconceived this case and was just looking for an excuse to get him. And the other thing is, the other message I get from this, they're really afraid of public relations, aren't they?
Yes, in fact, Amy was basically threatened not to go to the media or to tell anything in public. And when I found out about this case, actually I was doing research into another case, and at this point I still thought this was just an individual case, and there are not any other cases. But then I did some research, and the first case I came across was Amy's case. And I saw this video that I've mentioned earlier, and this really made me cry, and I thought everybody else is stepping up for the other children that I was researching about, but I was wondering who is stepping up for Amy. You know, and for this horrible situation, I said, if nobody stands up for her, I will do it. And I knew immediately I also have to meet her in person.
I can still remember the first time that I heard about this was here in this room. Björn, you told me about it, and I could hardly believe it. Can we have a short look at this video material that was presented?
Yeah, sure.
They did not want to give me the chance to even show them that, of course, I can wean him if that's what's possible by law. It's horrible. They're also now using false allegations against me. They're using the fact that I can go home to America if I was to have the child, and that is not right.
Inn til meg. Hver natt han sov ikke i egen seng. Jeg greier ikke å legge han i egen seng, for han vil ha meg rett ved siden av han. Og så kan dere
Se, hun til og med er medmenneskelig her. Jeg ser det på og alt. Altså, man... La henne få en siste natt med han.
Vi er kun budbringere her.
Ja, takk for budet.
Ja, men kan jeg i hvert fall få... Faen, han blør meg. Kan jeg i hvert fall få vite på når det oppstod konflikter mellom samarbeidsvilje med meg og...
Ikke i mars. No.
As we can see, there's a lot of arguing going on in this situation, and it doesn't really have to do something with actually facts of the welfare of this child. Now, Tyler was really taken by Barnevernet and moved away from his parents. Does this have any legal basis? How about protection of children's rights?
This is a complete violation of children's rights, of human rights. There's no legal background to take Tyler. In fact, Article 9 of the UN Convention of the Rights of the Child states that you cannot take a child against their own will. So this was already a violation of Tyler's rights. And also Tyler is entitled to have regular contact with his parents, so he's also being deprived of that, because what then happened was, you know, they were allowed to see Tyler at a police station like once a week, and then Tyler was always crying at home in the foster home because he wanted to see his mom, which is a very natural thing. And so they said, no, you have a way too close bond to Tyler, so we have to stop these visits, you know. And then for a short period, they were allowed to see them only every other week, and then all these visits were cancelled after a year.
This is actually a very strange argument. A mother having too strong bonds with her child.
Yeah, I mean, it's really strange because the closer a bond between a mother and a child is, I would say it's the better. I mean, that's the way it is supposed to be.
This is our home in Lyngdal, where Tyler has grown up. We have my son's bedroom. He was last here July 23rd, and it's been horrible ever since. This we got in America.
It's been over 4 years now that Tyler was last allowed to see his parents, which happened in police custody. What has happened since then?
Well, the authorities were concerned that there's an abduction risk because Amy is an American citizen. So they said both parents have the opportunity to take Tyler home to America. And so the authorities were concerned that they would not have full control over the child. And that's what's actually written in the case documents. And this was, I've seen the case documents myself, so that's how I know it. And this was actually used as the main argument for taking parental and visitation rights away from them.
Just that I understand correctly, Barnevernet wants to have the full control of a child?
Yeah, that's at least the impression I get, you know, that they think they own the child, and that the child does not belong to the parents, and that they have the final say, and that's not right. It's a violation of fundamental rights that are internationally respected, and Norway is not respecting these rights.
So what has happened ever since?
Well, the authorities, they have changed Tyler's name twice into a more Norwegian name because they wanted to make sure that the parents would not be able to locate their son. The first time, Amy's lawyer found out about the name, so the authorities changed the name again a second time. And so basically they don't know where their child is, how the child is doing. And this has been going on now since September 2014. That's the last time when Amy actually saw her son.
Tyler now is old enough to ask questions. Does he know about his biological parents?
Yes, apparently he is asking questions about his biological parents. There are reports that indicate that he does ask these kind of questions. And still, Barnevernet wants to set him up for forced adoption. The foster parents, they have said that they would like to adopt Tyler. In fact, they already see him as their own child. And because the authorities have always repeatedly said that there is an abduction risk, they have actually hired a bodyguard who takes him to kindergarten, who takes him to school, who watches over him, because they're too afraid that Amy would come and kidnap the son. And they have also stated they don't wish any further contact at all with the biological parents, with Amy.
Now, hiring a bodyguard for your child, that comes at a high cost. How do they finance that?
Well, I don't know anything about the social status of the foster parents, but there are reports, in general, there are reports that foster parents, they actually do get a fortune, like between 4,000 and 6,000 euro per month per foster child. I mean, this is what you might get in Austria per foster child per year. And this is really horrible. It looks like this is a modern way of human trafficking, if you put it, you know, where children are being taken and being brought into other families, and the government pays for it all.
It sounds like an industry.
Yeah, it really sounds like an industry, and there are a lot of Norwegian experts who say that this is an industry, a child trafficking industry that they have in Norway.
This might also be an indication why Barnevernet is fighting so much, and why the Norwegian government is really fighting to maintain the system, because it looks like a lot of money is involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of money involved, and they're always fighting. It looks like Barnevernet always has to be right. I think what we also have to understand here is even the political system, how it works. They have a family ministry and a ministry for children. So the separation is already there. While we in Austria or other countries, we have just a family ministry, but they have already the political split that they have an own ministry for children and an own ministry for family. And the family ministry, Linda Hofstad Helleland, she has repeatedly stated in Norwegian media that the Norwegian Child Protection Service is the best child protection system in the world, and that many other countries will soon copy that. And that scares me.
From what I know, this case is already pending at the European Rights Court. What can you say about the legal situation?
Well, what we did as an initiative, Step Up for Children's Rights, we've contacted international Christian lawyers who are based here in Vienna. And they looked at Amy's case. In fact, Amy came over here, and so they looked at the case papers, and they saw a number of human rights violations, and they helped Amy to file the case to the European Rights Court, and that's where it's pending now. And of course, this might take a lot of time because there are lots of cases from all around Europe coming to the European Court. But this shows already that there is a very terrible legal situation here, if even these international lawyers say there are human rights violations. And also these lawyers, they have given a report to Citizen Go, and Citizen Go was able to set up this petition for Amy based on the report of these lawyers. And we have, I think, more than 47,000 signatures so far. And every time people sign this petition, there's an email sent directly to the children's minister in Norway, Linda Hofstad Helleland, and she hasn't responded to that yet. And that makes me really angry.
It makes you angry, rightly so, but what else are you doing?
Well, after we've seen that there hasn't been any response from the Norwegian government so far, we have started to do silent vigils in front of the Norwegian embassy here in Vienna, together with Citizen Go. And the first time we've done it, it was on quite a rainy day, and we didn't have really much time to organize it. So we ended up only with 3 people in front of the embassy on a dark November afternoon, and we thought nobody is ever taking any notice of us standing there in the rain holding up these signs. And after 20 minutes, 2 high-ranking embassy people, the 3rd and the 2nd officer in charge, they came actually down to see us, which I thought was a good sign, because they could have just sent one of their employees to find out what we were there for. But they came and they talked with us, and we explained the situation, and they asked for further information, and then we were able to email them an open letter. And then I think about 2 or 3 weeks passed, and we still didn't get any answer. And we also published actually this email on the internet. Then we did another silent vigil together with Citizen Go and with another Christian platform Christdemokratie here in Austria. So we were actually 3 different platforms who were doing the silent vigil, and we have again published another open letter to the ambassador. And we were able to hand this over again, because the same officer came again out to see us, and we were again able to hand out this open letter. And now it's been another 4 or 5 weeks have passed ever since, and we still haven't gotten any response. So what we're planning is more vigils, more protests in front of the embassy, and I'm even calling out to the international audience here, please support us in other cities. It's so easy to organize a silent vigil, to go out in front of the embassy and show your protest and show and tell everybody that this is very unjust and we need to stop this as quickly as possible. Because what's happening now is that, as I said before, Tyler is supposed to be forcibly adopted, and the court trial for this is expected to be shortly before Easter. So time is really running, and we really need to make sure that this mother and this child, that they're being reunited as quickly as possible.
Amy and Tyler are 2 people whom you've given voices using the social media and other platforms. There are dozens, perhaps hundreds of similar cases in Norway. Isn't that right?
This makes me really sad that there are so many cases. In fact, just shortly before Christmas of 2018, there was another case going around the world through the media, where a mother from Norway has actually fled the country and moved to Poland with her daughter, who is now 23 months old, and she actually has received asylum by the Polish government. And I mean, this is something like this. Has this ever happened after World War II, where somebody from a European country flees and finds asylum in another European country? I mean, this is really historic here, and shows how alarming the situation is. And I know many other families who have fled the country. I know a family who has even fled to Dubai, because the Norwegian government, they have now got Interpol involved. And so we have a number of parents, families who flee the country because they're so much afraid and they want to stay together as a family.
All of this sounds very alarming. Björn, how can people get more information, and how could they be involved personally?
Well, they can, first of all, like our Facebook site, Step Up for Children's Rights, or if they want to follow the case of Amy Jakobsen and Tyler, we have another Facebook site for them, Norway Return Tyler to Amy. They can like these Facebook sites, and then they will get all the updates that we're posting there. And they can also share that, because if they share that with other people, then it automatically means that many other people get aware of this situation, that this is going on in Norway. So social media pressure is one thing that we can all do if we are involved in social media, and almost everybody has a Facebook account or Twitter or something. And then the other thing is really, let's go on the streets. I mean, it's so easy here in Austria. You have to let the police know like 48 hours ahead of time what you're doing. And that's basically it. And I don't know how it's in other countries, but I'm assuming that it's very similar. So please, if you're listening, if you're asking yourself, what can I do to help Amy? then organize a silent vigil, a protest. Send us a private message on our Facebook site, and we'll get back to you.
And a further possibility for everybody is to sign this petition if you haven't done it yet. And regarding the social media, wherever you find this video, you can also share it on WhatsApp. Let your friends know this is an issue of justice and we can get involved. Thank you very much for being part of this initiative.